Can we hear me now? No, it's something wrong.
We can hear you, but there's an echo.
But I am muted.
Stängt av micken. Now I think you can hear me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now
Yeah, me and Johan is sitting in the same little, you know, and
yeah.
we're both connected to the meeting, and his microphone was on.
Yes, that is probably the reason why we had the echo. Anyways, yes. So I guess we'll start. And I saw, Carl, that you have switched on the recording.
I switched on the recording. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Then I'll turn off my microphone when it's time here. But sorry about that. I'm sitting at a different machine and nothing worked. So
yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I guess we'll start. So welcome everybody. I see some of you who I know very well, and some of you who I have never met. So just a couple of words of introduction. So my name is Janis, and I am from Wave. I have my colleague Vladimir here, who is also joining the meeting, and we are the guys behind the website, behind the Umbraco Multisite, and not just the website, but also the portal. So basically, we are the sort of the developers and the tech support and strategy, digital marketing, and everything. So, and today we welcome you to the Umbraco user forum, where we have some news to share and some tips and tricks and some updates on Umbraco. And I know that Carl sent out a agenda for this meeting. And we are going to go over the points from Carl's email one by one, starting probably. So the points are the drop-down menu in Umbraco, how to use it, how to configure it. And then it is the new interactive map feature, which is already being used live in 2 countries. And then it's just a few words about the accessibility work that we are currently doing in the background. And that is for the multisite, for the main Umbraco website. And then we have 2 points on the portal, which is currently being used in Sweden and in Finland. And those points are manager pages, or manager-specific pages, rather, and categorization of search results, or to be more exact, the categorization of content, which will then be used in search as a result of where it has been categorized. So we will start with, in my opinion, the most impressive new feature, which is the interactive map. So, and of course, you know, any questions at any point, please either interrupt me or raise your hand, or, you know, we should try to create a discussion rather than just a presentation, so that, you know, you understand what we are trying to say, and you have the opportunity to ask questions about it as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at locations. So as you can see, I am on the Dutch site, norlandia.nl, and this is the first site where we implemented the new locations feature. And here you can see the search locations menu item and the actual page. So we started with the Dutch site, and basically the assignment was to create a way for the location page to display all of the locations together, and on top of that, to have dedicated pages for each of the municipalities or cities, depending on how they are categorized. So basically, we have a main locations page with some filters, and this will display all of the locations or all kindergartens that are available. And then for each of the cities or regions in the Netherlands, there is a dedicated page where, if you navigate to that page, First of all, of course, you have some information, as usual, that you can add from the back office, and then it will narrow the map down to the locations that are specific to this city or to the kindergartens that are located in that area, and then only those will be displayed here. And one of the main reasons why this functionality was introduced was because of SEO. So SEO-wise, it is advisable to have as much information as possible and to make it as easy as possible for the end users to find locations that are relevant to them, you know, that are closest to where they live or where it's convenient to send your kids to the kindergarten. And how this works is, if I'm going to share the back office here, you can see the Dutch site, and you might know that there used to be an old map page with a logo like this here. This has been unpublished now. And what we have done is the old pages where they are used, for example, on the Swedish site, Norlandia Forskolor, it's still active. But when you switch to the new layout, the new pages, then you need to create a new you need to create a new page of the new type. So it's called Map Cities page. I will not create that now because it's already been created here. So you can see it here. And underneath it, there is going to be a city-specific page for each of the locations, or each of the cities in this case, or regions or municipalities, however you call them. So like there's a page for Amsterdam, Aston, and so on and so forth. So basically this is how it's structured on the back office. So it's quite standard. The new location page, for the main locations, is similar to what you had before, with some small changes here and there, and basically you have the same configuration options as before. One new feature that we have implemented is on the Norlandia. So on the Swedish site, we can see, for example, that here you need to click on the map to activate it. Here we have a feature that will allow you to activate the map on page load. So you don't need to click on it. That's one small new feature, but most of this here that we have, most of the settings are actually the same as they were on the old page, with some small changes. And here is where we can get to the second point on the agenda, which we are combining both of them, which is the drop-down menu. So by showing you the location pages, I'm combining both the locations and the drop-down. So you can see that for each of the cities here, we have an item on the menu, which is a drop-down. So you can navigate the city-specific pages by using the filter here. For example, we will go to Rotterdam. That's how you can get to Rotterdam. You can go back. Or alternatively, you can go to the drop-down and find Rotterdam here directly. And the way to use the drop-down is that on the page where you want to have the drop-down with the items on the menu, you simply go to navigation, and then you add the pages that should go under this drop-down on this list here. You simply go add and add that page. And the order in which they are going to be displayed here is the same as the order on the back office. So if I want to say that Rotterdam is maybe it's the most important page that should come up as the first one on the list, then I would simply need to move that up here on the back office, and then it will be displayed as the first item. This is simply ordered by alphabet. So yes, and this drop-down, of course, works not only for the locations, which is the new page, but also for other pages. Like, for example, here we have practical information, and the same drop-down functionality is used. So maybe we can actually take a look here. So yes, so practical information. Here we have FAQ. Here we have FAQ. Here we have the calculator, the cost calculator for the costs of the kindergarten. And here we have that. So the idea is the same, regardless of the page on which you want to use the dropdown. So you simply go to navigation, and under navigation menu links, you need to add the links that you want to see on the dropdown in the order that you want to see them in. And then if we take a closer look at one of the location specific pages, for example, Amsterdam, then you can see here that obviously you have the name, you have a heading, and then here you have the preamble, which is quite standard, similar to other pages. That's the text here. And then if we go down, we can see that here we have the metadata. And this is one of the most important parts, because one of the main reasons why this was required in the first place was that we have city-specific pages with their own metadata. So of course this data is specific to Amsterdam, and Aston will have its own information, and so on and so forth. So that's that. And then if we look at the actual pages for the locations, for example, let's take this one. These haven't been changed. I mean, not really. They are still the same as before. So, for example, Andy, for you, if you want to implement this feature in Sweden, you don't really need to change much here on these pages. All this configuration should stay as it is. What you will need to make sure is that under municipality, that the name of the municipality here, matches the name of the page under the locations, so that this location, this one, gets displayed on this city page. So if we go here, we should find the location that we have categorized as belonging to that location. So basically it's here. If we go here, so yes. So this is the one. It's part of this municipality. And so by doing this, you basically categorize the locations to where they should be. And we have also implemented some front-end features to make it a little bit easier to navigate. So if we compare, for example, here on the Swedish site, we have the old layout, the old design, and the old configuration. So here you can see, for example, that there are no hover effects on these cards here, and they are all different sizes, you know, depending on how much text there is in the name of those locations and so on. So this is basically sort of the old style. In the new version, besides all the technical changes, we also made some visual enhancements here. We made all of the cards use the same height regardless of the size. Maybe I could go back to the main locations page. There you can see it better. So let's see. Yeah, well, for example, here we can see that the name takes 2 lines on these 3 cards, but not this one, and yet they are still all the same size, and the same hover effects apply as well. So that is another improvement that was made as part of this feature. So yes, and we have recently Team Marika in Finland, who is also on this call. She has recently implemented the same in Finland. So here you can see the Finnish implementation, again with the hover effects, again with the list of municipalities on the drop-down here, on the filter, and all the other features. Here, after working on the Finnish version, which was the second one where this was implemented, we realized that there is a challenge which is specific to Finland. So if we look at the Dutch side, then we can see that here's a neat little list of municipalities. under the dropdown. But on the Finnish site, we realized that we can't use the dropdown because there are way too many municipalities and cities in Finland, and as far as I understand, it could be even up to 300. So obviously that does not fit on a dropdown like this. So there are some challenges that we need to look into in the future when it comes to handling this. For example, on hover effect, we could expand this menu to show a bigger list of cities subdivided into regions and so on, but that's for the future. But anyway, the point is that here you can also see the new implementation. And as for upcoming features, so yeah, for Finland, we need to look into the menu dropdown or how we could handle that. But there are some other upcoming or potentially upcoming features to this to the location experience would be which are to subdivide or to categorize and sort these locations instead of using the alphabet simply. Like A, B, C, we want to make them sort by location or by city. For example, Amsterdam locations, Aston locations, I don't know, Rotterdam locations, and so on. So that's one upcoming feature that's on the roadmap. Then secondly, it's labels on these cards where we want to show that, for example, this is a new location, or this is a location with free spots available, and so on and so forth, individually configurable per card. And third is potentially we want to add USP or unique selling points on these cards. Like, I don't know, this one has an olive garden, this one has a vegetable garden, and so on and so forth. So those are potentially upcoming features that we are discussing. Andy, I see you have a hand up.
I think this looks really great. I just have a question about the dropdown that you just mentioned for Finland, that the list became too long. Do you know what like the breaking point is? Because in Sweden we have 42 municipalities, I think.
That is going to be quite a lot as well. So there's no breaking point technically. Of course, there is some sort of maximum that can be displayed based on your screen size or the device that you are using. On mobile, it might be actually a little bit easier because there you can scroll the menu. But 42 is a lot. It's probably not going to work with 42, or well, it can work, but it will not look great because you can see here on the Dutch side, this is like an optimal number of locations. 2 more and it would be fine. But if we increase this to 40, you can imagine what this will look like. It will be very long. So basically we need, if it's going to be a lot of locations on the dropdown, we need a different solution. So just for Finland, and we need a similar solution for you guys in Sweden as well. But of course that doesn't stop you from implementing the feature. Or switching to the new way of handling locations, but that's just something that we need to consider and potentially estimate or think about the user experience in that case.
Thank you.
And Andy, for you also, and potentially for others who might be interested in implementing this feature, I can just let you know how to do it and how we did it with Team Erika in Finland. So the way we did it is that the Finnish site still used the old map feature here on the menu, and everywhere it was accessible. But on the back office, what we did is we simply created the new page type, and Team Marika started creating all the subpages for each of the locations and so on. And we even published it live, even though it was not live yet, but we didn't show it on the menu because it was not ready. And we simply chose to hide it from navigation, from search results, and from the sitemap. So by doing this, you can get the live experience of the new functionality without having to build it on the test site. And while having access to all the data that you have on the live site, by data, I'm mainly talking about the actual pages for each of the locations, and then you can see how it's going to be, used exactly. So that's a way how it can be done. And if you want to do that, or if you need help, then maybe you can email me, or we can set up a quick call to go over how to do that, because I guess that you want to go with this new functionality soon, or as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Just need to find the time to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's much nicer than the old one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, as for the time, you can ask Team Marika how much time it took, but yeah. Rosa.
Hello again. So I did something after the email. I don't remember who said, maybe Carl or Timarika, step by step I'm trying doing something, but I'm not sure it's okay or no. It's a Norlanda Przedszkola. It's a Polish website. You can check it. But yeah, I know I will send to you an email, and I will ask about it, about maps and about features.
I can
because
see.
I'm doing something, but
Yes,
I'm
I
trying.
can see. Yeah, I can see that you are definitely on the right track here. So you have created the new map page. You have created the sub pages for the locations, and I see that you have some more content to fill in here, like metadata and so on. That's totally fine. So you are definitely on the right track. And yeah, so as I said, you can right now what you have done, I see that you have published this page. So what you can do is, as I said, you have already hidden it from navigation, from search results, and I would suggest that we hide it from the sitemap for now, just to be sure or to be safer, because it's not ready yet, right? You still have the location page, the old one is still live, so this is the one that's still being used. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so basically just to continue with this and you'll be fine. So just make sure that, for example, Warsaw, we have Warsaw here. Then the locations that need to go under Warsaw, where do we have? Where are the location? Where are the pages for?
Also, we have, for principles, so it's. But I understand you, yeah? For example, Usus and Vola, so.
Yeah, so here, just make sure that this here matches exactly the name of the page here. Because that's what defines where the location will be displayed. And as long as you have that, it's fine. So just finish up with the content, and when you are ready with it, what we did with Team Marika in Finland is that, let's see, where is this? Yes, so basically, I just helped Team Marika to replace or unpublish the old locations page and to replace the menu item with a new one. It's as simple as that. So basically the old one sort of disappears, goes away from public view, but it's still in the back office, so you don't need to lose any content. We simply unpublish it, and instead of the old one, we add the new one in the same place. So to the user, nothing really changes. The website stays the same, and the locations page stays on the same place on the menu as well. And here you can also, so you have a relatively small number of municipalities or cities here, right? So what you can do...
Just only cities, only cities.
Only cities, yeah, that's good. So here on this, yeah, so probably you want to remove this one and simply add the location pages directly for each of the pages. So for example, here we will probably have Warsaw and so on and so forth. Just add all of them if you want to use the dropdown as the similar to the Dutch version.
Yes.
And since I think it's a good feature to use, so I would suggest that you simply add all the location pages here one by one. This one should not be here because that way you are just referencing the page itself.
Okay.
So this one should go away, and instead of that, you can add the pages that that need to go there, like this one, and you can order them, in the way that you want them. I will save this for now. I will not publish it. You can feel free to modify that and publish it when needed. But for now, this will not be displayed anywhere because it's hidden from navigation and search results. So yeah.
Okay.
But you're on the right track.
Okay. Thank you.
So when you're ready with this, and if you need help, publishing the page and unpublishing the old one and replacing the menu item, you can just shoot me a quick email, and it's quite fast for me to do that. Julia.
How much do we have to fill in on each city site?
So
that one.
That depends on how much you want to show on it. So it's completely up to you. Of course, you can skip the preamble. You don't have to do it, a preamble. You can add as much content here as you want, but the page will work with just the name of the page. As you can see here, it's basically nothing on it. It's just a name of the page or the city, Warsaw. There's not even any text here, but the page will work without it. So the main reason why we have this is to display the locations. It's up to you.
How did it look on the Dutch site? Was it just the city name
No, on the Dutch side, they have invested time to add a name and to add a preamble, and that's pretty much the only visible content that you can add right now. So for all of these, they have this, and they also have, as I said before, they have metadata, which you can't see, but which is important for SEO. So for each of the pages, they have added, if we go here, metadata, they have added this as well, but it's up to you. It's, of course, as much information, or not as much, but as much relevant and targeted information you have on those pages, as the better. It doesn't mean, the more text, the better.
So they just had heading, preamble, and meeting.
We can take a quick look. We have access here. So for example, let's take Amsterdam. So you can see, well, of course, this is the name of the page, and then I have a heading. That's the first item that's displayed, H1. Then I have the preamble, and then if we go down, then they will have this and also the metadata. So
what did that mean where it said 8? I don't know what the heading was there.
Yes.
Map zoom. What's that?
A map
zoom 8.
Okay. So this is actually not really relevant in this case, because this is where the map will focus if there are no locations on that city. For example, we can have Warsaw here, but no locations underneath it. So then we can use these properties to define where the map will center, so that it doesn't zoom out to the whole world or Europe, that it will anyway zoom in to these coordinates, which you can look up online. These are for the Netherlands, and the level of zoom. But in this case, actually, these values here are doing nothing really, because they have locations under Amsterdam. This is just like a fallback. But
and what was the list info?
Yes,
the list info was for. Where can I see that?
It's for page poof. If you want to show this page poof somewhere on other places.
Yes.
It's taking information from list info, image, icon, heading, and preamble, which will be shown in this card.
All right.
Exactly. So this is not visible on this page. It's not anywhere here.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, while we're on the subject, I mentioned potentially upcoming features on this map experience. One other potential upcoming feature might be that we might add the so-called element area on the back office, where you can add other blocks like a CTA block and so on and so forth. That does not exist today. You will see that it's not there. So we can't go and add text underneath the cards, for example. So that's another one that we might want to implement. Jessica.
So I was just wondering for Julian, Andy, and Johan, because we have already created region and municipality pages for Fösen and Hollandia on the web page. and I think this would compete with the SEO sites that we have already created, and they have a lot more information created with Dennis. So I'm not sure if we actually should implement this.
Can you give me some
you go
examples?
under first under personlig assistans, personal systems.
Yes.
And
scroll down. If you take one of those, like, yeah, there we have SEO pages.
This is just for the office, but if you go back, we have one for every municipality underneath.
Okay.
So we have already put a lot of effort into creating these SEO sites with information, and we have really high ranking on them. So I'm not actually sure if we should implement that in Sweden with a new map.
Yeah, well, that's up to you. These pages do not need to go away by any means. So when I mentioned Sweden, I was mostly talking about, I was mainly thinking of this page actually for the
But we've done
preschools.
the same thing for preschools.
Okay.
They have municipality pages as well.
Okay. Yeah, if you scroll all the way down to the footer,
Yeah.
I think it should be there, and then under like here, exactly this one. If you click on that, so there I'm not sure I agree, Jessica, but it's good for us to know that how we created. So we did this. So we did on two different levels. So we have the LAN, whatever that, like region in Sweden, and then we have the municipalities. And then for each municipality, we create a page where it's like we have 5 preschools in this municipality, and then we just like we put every search term that we could imagine put on that page, and those pages are hidden on the page itself, so you cannot navigate to it. It's only for Google, so it's only reachable if you like Google the right term, and then Google finds it, and then you can click on it. So it's basically the same thinking behind it, but I still think the map feature is a complement, not a competitor.
But if we have 2 sites that both say preschools in Helsingborg, for example, I don't think that's good for Google.
Well, probably 2 sites that essentially do the same or serve the same purpose is probably not going to be a viable solution. However, I would still advise that we look into it and at least see how we can, apply the new functionality or the front-end features here on this page, so that we have all the hover effects and all of that. But it's a little different from what Norlandi and .nl or the Dutch and the Finnish sites have done. So we probably need to discuss that separately. But I do still think that having the new features here would be beneficial, and potentially, if even more so, if we get the location-based sort, if we get the USPs, the labels, and so on. So I do think that there is room for the new feature, but maybe we need to look at carefully at how we are going to structure it.
Yeah, I think it's probably easiest if we just take a quick chat with Dennis to see what he thinks.
Yeah, I think so too, because but it's a very good point that you're raising here, because you have already sort of done implemented an SEO targeted solution for you, which is the main purpose of this new feature overall. So you have been going about it in a different way.
Yeah, so, we already like top ranked throughout Sweden on all the searches, so that's why I'm just scared to.
Of course, and you don't want to, of course, and that makes complete sense, and you should think in those terms, because we made this for SEO purposes, and you have already achieved very good SEO results. So maybe we should only focus on the front-end features and the accessibility and so on, and not, the SEO features here, but definitely should be discussed separately, and we should look into how to handle that. Very good questions. Very good point. Yes. Any other questions on this not right now. So yes, in the near future, I assume we can expect Warsaw and well, Poland for you guys to follow the Dutch and Finnish example. So that's coming up. Sweden, we need to discuss how we are going to handle it SEO wise, first and foremost. And yeah, then we need to look into the dropdown for Finland and the other potentially upcoming features moving forward. So yes, that's that. Then if we move on, the next point on the agenda is the accessibility work that we are doing. And when it comes to accessibility, I can just let you know that this is basically work that's going on in the background or behind the scenes right now. You are not seeing any of the work, and it's not been deployed live either. A while ago, around 1 year ago, we did an accessibility audit on one specific page, part of the Umbraco Multisite, and based on that audit, we have created a number of tasks that we need to complete in order to improve accessibility across the board. And most of the changes that we are doing in terms of accessibility will not require any input from you. Most of the changes are sort of in the background and are more concerned with how you navigate the page if you don't use the traditional methods of navigation, which are, you know, mouse, keyboard, and on your phone. Most of it is about screen readers and being able to access different parts in different ways that are not traditional. And there might be some input that we will need from you, but then we will communicate that separately. So just so you know that the work is being done, we are progressing pretty much as planned. And after we deploy all the changes, then we will need to do another audit to see to it that nothing is left out. But as of right now, no action is required from you and no visible changes are coming to the site when it comes to accessibility anytime soon. So that's that. And then, do we have any questions about the multisite? Carl, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just thought that, again, maybe something people are wondering about related to the accessibility, because there is this directive that we need to meet by this summer.
Yes.
Is there what's the time frame for finishing up the accessibility? Do we have a date or?
Yeah, so there is no specific date. So the way it's going, and also accessibility is an ongoing process, just like developing a website and maintaining it. So it's not a finished end date for that. So, but the way it's going to work is that, as I said, we have created tasks based on the audit, and we have also categorized them as high priority and low priority. And starting with the high priority, we have already completed some of them. And likely in mid-May, we will do a deployment, or in May, at some point, mid to late May, we will do a deployment to the live site, which will cover many of the parts and many of the tasks that have been created. And after that, we will focus on the less prioritized tasks. And then probably late May, early June, we will deploy those. And that's where we will basically we will be able to say that we have completed what we set out to do based on the audit. And at that point, we will do a secondary audit on the site with the updates. And that audit will probably include more domains than previously, and also changes have been made to the site since the original audit. New domains have been added, new sites added, content changed, and so on. So basically, we'll do a repeated audit. But starting with the highest priority accessibility tasks, we will do deployments throughout May to basically improve accessibility. Julia?
If I understand it right, we have to change a lot of our text to pictures, and it's a lot of that stuff that we have to do ourselves.
I mean, there's not that much that you need to do right now. We should have ARIA labels and we should have metadata, but most of it is already there. There's not that much that
what I
needs
understand,
to be done.
it has to be alt text to each and every picture.
Yes.
And that we have to do because it's not that's not in place in Sweden. We have a lot of pictures that not have an alt text.
Yeah, that is one of the tasks that we have in terms of accessibility, and it is possible that we will need that, yes, but we will communicate that separately. And the alt text can.
Okay.
Sorry.
When do we get that information? Because we have a lot of pictures in the Swedish sites, and it takes a lot of time. If we should put it in, we have to start right now. If it's on us to do that.
What we can do is we can prioritize that and look into that as the next task on the list for accessibility. And yeah.
About images. Not all images should have alt text. It depends on image. If this image is public accessible and you want that user can download this image, and yes, it should be with alt text and other stuff. But this image is like background image. It just need to add some roles and specific stuff. It shouldn't like have this alt text. Yeah, that's why we need to decide which image should be for users and which is just for visual effects and so on. Yeah, that's why with images it's not so simple to like give you all this information. We need to just combine that and think about that.
Okay, because I looked up all the tasks you have to do before June, and it was a lot of alt text. It was that videos had to be text subtitle, and a lot of visual stuff that we just can do.
Yep.
Yeah, and we just have to have at least really soon what we have to do before June, because so we made it in time.
Yeah,
we would like to complete our tasks in May. That's our goal that we've discussed in at least Frasunda, because in June there is like it's crazy before vacation and people start going on summer holidays and so on. So we would like to be finished in the end of May. And so we really need to know what to do beforehand, because if there's all the photos, we have thousands of photos for the Swedish sites, and also the videos and so on, if we have to add different elements and things like that. And also we have a lot of photos with text in them, like text elements, and we have to
and maybe change the color on the text or color on the platform. We have a lot of issues on our sites.
Yeah, so I understand. We will prioritize the image task when it comes to accessibility, and we will communicate what needs to be done on your side. And not all the images will need alt text. So I think it should be less effort than you might be expecting. But regardless, we will take that under advisement. We will start with that next.
Thanks.
Any other questions before we move on? Carl?
I was just thinking, this is a very good point, I think, and something we really need to, because I know we're in the same situation in Norway. So I think that maybe we can communicate something, to everyone in a way about what in relation to the platform, which images need to be have alt text, and what kind of things we have to get done, basically, and eventually what things are nice to have, maybe.
Yeah, Jessica?
Yeah, because Julia, you went to a seminar with the accessibility law thing, and also Dennis has informed Andy, that we need, for example, have an accessibility page on our page describing how our web page is accessible and how we are working on it. So then we also need information how to present and where to present it and what's need to be included to be okay with the law and so on. Because I think, Julia, you got a list of 50 points and it was a lot.
Yeah, and on that list, I understand a lot of that is on that you can help us with technical issues, but
Yes.
some of them I understand that we have to do ourselves.
Yeah, there will be some content that you will need to do, but yeah. We will communicate the needs or the requirements.
Maybe, Julia, you can send a list to Carl and Torbjörn so they also have it.
Sure. Andy?
Always forget to unmute myself. There's another thing I was thinking about in terms of like very practical issues that we might face. I'm not sure how many pictures that need to be like tagged or whatever you call it. Like it seems to be that there's different views on that. Nevertheless, the issue that I will have probably with the Swedish preschool sites, and I think I mentioned this before, is that a lot of the pictures that we have on the Swedish sites, I don't have them saved anywhere else than in the back office in Umbraco.
Yeah.
And there's today no way of downloading them.
Yes.
So if I had to, for example, tag all the hero pictures on top, I don't have them anywhere else than in Umbraco. So that's also a practical thing that we have to, at least in Sweden, we have to consider. Because Julia and Jessica back in the day, they took like the original picture and they enlarged it to make it a hero picture. And I'm not sure if that picture that
I think I have them somewhere because I made all the heroes.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if we have them stored locally somewhere outside of Umbraco. So that's also a thing. Like if we have to tag specific like adjusted pictures, then I might need the possibility of actually downloading them to manipulate them. Otherwise, I will have to in some ways, like I don't have the pictures anymore. If it's like, for example, for a news item where I just took a picture on like a fair or whatever, and then I uploaded it, and then it's like gone. So that's also something that we have to think about, like how do we access the pictures that we have to tag or whatever you call it.
Either way, it should be a very good function to have to download our pictures to don't have to look up where we have saved them.
Yeah, so that's it has come up actually. Torbjörn brought this issue up a while ago. So the thing is that Umbraco does not have any built-in functionality for that. But what we can do is we can create a plugin that will just give you a download button on the back office. So we can do that, and we just need the estimate to be approved if this is a feature that's required. The benefit of it is that then it will be available to everybody. And
I'm not even sure if we actually need it, but if that comes up in terms of the accessibility work, like say we discover pictures that need to be altered somehow because there's like text overlay on top, or like we need to work with whatever the lighting or whatever, then it would be much easier if we could actually just take the picture as it is on the homepage, take it down to the laptop, manipulate it, and then upload it again instead of like try to search somewhere on my phone or locally on my desktop, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, we can look into that, and we have already actually looked into that. But yeah, then we will come up with a solution that will work for you, and we will communicate what needs to be done exactly, and we will try to make it as easy as possible for you, so you preferably don't need to fiddle around too much with searching for images that are already there and so on. Yeah, but this is the coming up.
And it was also about the contrast, that you cannot have like pale color, like I saw if you scroll down, I think it was on this site. No, but somewhere, like if you have like pale orange and then orange on top, or like, yeah, like for example there with the percentages, you're not allowed to present it like that because it's not enough contrast in the color spectrum or whatever. So it's hard to read when you're visibly impaired.
Yeah, that is true. And also the quality of this image is not perfect either. So it should be brighter colors on the image. And then if you hover, then it can be a little bit lighter, but not as much as this. Yeah, you're right. And also this, you know, there's text on the image that you can't read. I see here. Yes, all good.
So will you be developing like some kind of block function that where we can present numbers like this? Because at least for Sweden, we have numbers like this everywhere.
Well, when it comes to accessibility, features like that are not part of the accessibility work. That would be basically a new block. So if that's needed, then that needs to be added separately. But I thought that we had a similar block.
We have the block, but in this case, it's just image for news. It's a different story.
Yeah, so this news item has an image here. So, and that is the image. So it's a question of whether this should be a block or whether the news item and the images should be handled differently, perhaps.
But we have a block for numbers.
Yeah.
If I remember, Carol is
Which
using
block is that?
Carol, we use this in Hero or NHC, this block with numbers.
I have used it before. I know which one you're talking about. And the problem that I encountered was that it's very like basic.
Yeah.
So it's a basic like numbers counter. So you can just add like how many numbers you want, and then it just like displays them next to each other, and then it counts up. But the problem with that one is that you cannot adjust anything in terms of like color of the numbers or size or whatever. So I went around that and I used ElfSight, Jessica.
Yeah, I've seen those blocks on ElfSight, so maybe we should just use a widget for them. But yeah, if the widget will work as accessibility, that we don't know either.
Yeah, so this is the block that we have, but it's a block. It's not a news item or images for a news item. So, but of course, you know, it can be expanded and the functionality can be improved and updated. We just need to, you know, have a better insight into your needs and expectations.
And I think that's just another discussion. Like
exactly. So creating new blocks is specifically that part is not, it's not part of accessibility. So when we look at accessibility, or not, at least not in this round. So when we look at accessibility, basically, as I said, we are basing this on the audit that we did, and we are, you know, prioritizing the issues based on, you know, the severity of the scores that might affect your accessibility score overall for the website. So, and it's still an ongoing process. And even if we complete all the tasks, you will not get a 100% perfect score on accessibility, just like you are not getting a 100% perfect score on page speed either. And most sites aren't. So it's just to put this into perspective that, you know, not every single detail will be resolved after the deployment of the accessibility fixes. All of the web experience is a process. So whether it's page speed or accessibility, it's just that accessibility is sort of like a hot topic right now. And of course we you know, are prioritizing that, but just to clarify, you know, the approach here. And the numbers block, yeah, so Carl, Torbjörn, so feel free to share the needs of the community to where it maybe this needs to be, you know, made more accessible, so to say, to everybody in Sweden and everywhere where you might want to use this. So that's okay. We can definitely improve and update the block. I'm conscious of time. Conscious of time. Okay, so we have another half hour. Okay, perfect. then everything is great. Any other questions about what we've discussed until now? The locations.
Has his hand up.
Yeah, I just have one last question about the accessibility thing.
Yep.
I'm far from an expert here, but I think the problem that we have in Sweden is that we like looked into it ourselves, and then it looks very scary if you just like get confronted with a list of like 50 points need to be adjusted.
Exactly.
Is it, in my limited knowledge, isn't it the case that not all pages do have to fulfill all the requirements 100%? Because isn't there like different tiers of like, I don't know, news page or whatever has to fulfill like all this and this, and then like a private actor like us?
Yeah, you know, it's more like it depends on what the issue is. On you know whether you can or cannot navigate the page via keyboard or something, then it doesn't matter if it's the home page or the news page or something. But there are tiers, of course, yes, as you say. So not everything is a major issue. Not everything needs a solution, you know, on day one for you to meet the standards. Of course, you know, it's good to improve things, just like page speed and accessibility, but not everything needs to be done on day one. Jessica.
And I think it's at least more crucial for the sites that work with disability, because it won't look good if we're not on top of it. So if Frösunda is lacking accessibility things, I think it doesn't look good. So
absolutely,
it's very important for us at least to get it done at the time it needs to be done.
Yeah, well, of course, that goes without saying, because in your case, it's even more prioritized because that's literally what you're doing, and your users or a number of users that you have on the site actually experience these issues, and for them it's very important. But of course, there's the legal obligation. So yeah, absolutely agreed.
But if you go down, scroll down on this site here, then Andy has used the elf site widget for the here. Would that be fine? Like, can we, if we use that on our web page, not the Google, but for here, for the numbers? I think that's the widget, right, Andy?
That is the widget.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, as far as I'm aware, this is okay. I don't see why not. It's a question of, you know, your preference as well, because then you need to handle this in the configuration for the widget and not in Umbraco. I mean, the content of it.
We already have a lot now in the widget, so.
Yeah, you do. I know you have Google reviews and stuff, you know.
Translation and.
Yes, you have exactly. So there's the translation.
Shores and.
Well, the translation is, you know, it's just a sort of like a script that basically runs on the site on the front end, and you know it will just translate it. This doesn't give you SEO information in German, for example. You can't find the site in German if you search for this text. It's mainly just a front end feature. So, but yeah, you can use, as far as I'm aware, you can use the widgets as long as they are accessible themselves, and they should be, you know. Yeah, so, but, you know, let's say that we find, or that our accessibility audit finds an issue somewhere on the widget here, an accessibility related issue, then you just need to be aware that that issue will need to be solved somehow through the widget, either by configuration or by the providers of the widget. That we can't influence, you know, the accessibility here too much.
Yep.
Yeah. But as long as you're fine handling content that way, then it can be used. Yes. Any other questions?
I don't think we have any more questions on this.
All right.
We're too overwhelmed to have questions.
Yeah, but
to be honest.
Yeah, but there is a lot of information here, and we are talking about a big site and a lot of efforts going into making it better from your perspective, content, SEO details, and from our point of view. So there is a lot to take in here, for sure. Yes. So if there are no more questions at this point, then we can get into the second part, which is the portal. No questions, then we will go to the portal. And as for the portal, currently it's only used in Sweden and Finland. It's not being used in the other countries yet, although I have heard that there were some, let's say, initiatives to potentially demo the portal to others elsewhere. So yeah, it's up to you. But anyway, we have 2 points on the agenda today, and they are relatively quick to discuss here. And I am on the test portal, and one of the features that was relatively recently implemented is manager pages. So the functionality is quite straightforward. So in some cases, you might want to have pages on the portal, pages that are only visible to managers. So it's of course up to you to decide which pages those are. And what needs to be done if you want to have a manager specific page is that first of all, you need to make sure that the users who need to be accessing those pages have been given the manager role. And this is something that is controlled over at Ecom in Norway. And the way to get it resolved or updated or changed is to contact Robert from Sweden. And then he will submit a ticket with Ecom, and he will take it from there and make sure that the user has the appropriate rights. But I just want to clarify that we don't control the rights of the users. That is being controlled externally. But assuming that the user has the manager role, then when they log in, they will see all of the pages that regular users have access to, plus any manager specific pages. So if you're a regular user, and let's assume that, for example, this page is only accessible to managers or is manager specific, then the only thing that you need to do on the back office is to enable this toggle here, show only for managers, and that's it. And then that page will be displayed on the menu, and it will be accessible to the managers. And regular users will not even see the page on the menu. So it's not like they will see a page, click on it and get an error, you're not a manager or something like that. They will not see the page at all. Technically, if I am a manager, I can, of course, take the link to the manager specific page and post it somewhere and send it to somebody who's not supposed to access it. But if that happens, then the user tries to access it, if that user is not a manager, they will be logged out of the system. So those are really manager specific pages that only managers can access. And that's pretty much it for the manager pages. There's not much else there. It's for pages, not blocks, so entire pages will be hidden or shown to managers.
And configuration for managers, we need to ask Robert.
Yes, yeah. As I said, so if you need to make somebody a manager, or if you see that you have created a page and you have only allowed it to be displayed to managers, but the manager doesn't see it, most likely the user is not a manager in the system, but that part is on Robert and Ecom to sort out. So in Umbraco, in the back office, you only need to specify which pages are manager pages, but not which users are managers and which are regular users. So that's that. Any questions on that? Nope. And then the other point on the portal is regarding categorization. And Team Marika, this is especially relevant for you, but actually it's relevant for everybody, but for you, it's a priority, I would say. So here we have the Finnish portal, and we can take a look here. And if we go to the test page, you will see the issue that we are on Finnish. All the pages here are from the Finnish portal. This is the test version. But here on the search page, what you can see is that all of these categories here are hard-coded in Swedish. So the reason for that is that the portal was originally created for Sweden, and that's how it's been maintained and used in the past. So all of the items that we have in the system have been categorized here based on this list, which is all, of course, in Swedish, obviously. So, but this is not sustainable if we are going to go multi-language, which we are. And also, it doesn't let you define your own categories. And because of those two reasons, we have implemented a different way of categorizing content, which will be relevant for search results. And this feature is already available on the live site. I'm just on the test site, so I don't mess something up in the live content. But what you can do now is you can create a new page, a new page type. It's called list page with categories, and it's already created here. I have renamed it to search. And basically you create that, and then under data, you have categories. So here you can define your own categories for anything that you might want to use. And I have seen on the live side that you have already defined categories for various, areas, IT, HR, and so on and so forth. So basically what you do is you simply create a category, you save the category, and then if we go back, we will see that it's here. And then anything that should go under that category on the search results will need to be categorized here under tags. So I just created a category called test, and then it means that I can use that on the content. So instead of this dropdown, which was historically used when it was Sweden only, you can skip that. Simply use the category tags based on the categories that you have created. And then if you go to the search page, you will see results based on the categories that you have set up yourself. And we also need to make sure that we include the categories here. I created a new one, but I didn't include it, so I need to save and publish that. And then hopefully I get a category called test, and then I get the result here. And this way, by categorizing all of the content based on where it should go, based on your individual categories that you have created, you can create the search experience that is tailored to your site, your country, your portal. And for example, for Finland, we have only one portal for now, but eventually we are probably going to have at least 2 more, and so on. And each of them might have, their own categories, their own content. And then eventually what we can simply do is this page with the categories that have been set up here, this is going to basically serve as the search page. And eventually you can go into settings, and when it comes to search, here we have this currently for now, but eventually probably we want to replace that with the new search page, and that will become the search. So now here, if I go to search, instead of the Swedish specific search, we get this. So all of this can be in Finnish, and it can serve, the purposes that you need for your portal. So for now, Team Marika, I guess that you will be the first one to use this, but Torbjörn, for you and your team, I would also suggest that you move into the new way of handling this content, because it's not just about Swedish or Finnish. It's also about your flexibility to create the categories that you might want to have on the portals that you have. Because maybe you had only one portal in the past, but now you might have, you know, several portals, and depending on where you are, you might have different categories. So that will give you the flexibility to create the categories that you want and that are relevant for you.
I think it's a good way to actually guide the users as well.
Yes.
It happens I get questions about where do I find that and where do I, you know, and you categorize it, and you help the user a lot more.
Exactly. So and the search function, you know, research showed that it's one of the most often used functions on any website, because people don't want to spend a lot of time looking for the things that they want to find. They prefer to find them via search and by typing what they are looking for. So yeah, and that's available now. So Team Marika, if you have specific questions about your case and about Finnish, you can reach out to me. But technically, it's all already available to you for use today.
Thank you.
Yes, I know that you've been asking for that. So yes, any questions on that?
Paul, who's question or?
I was just wondering. I'm not quite sure about this, but is this something that we would want to have on the live site as well? Does it make sense to have it there?
I mean, we can have it, but it depends. So, for example, which site would that be?
I'm just thinking about the multi-site in general.
Yeah, well,
is it an advantage? Is there some advantage to have that kind of filtering for a live site as well?
Well, the advantage would be the same as on the portal, that you can create your own categories. And everybody might have different categories, but it depends on how you want to use search in general. And on most of the sites, search is not even enabled.
I guess it's been a poor function basically in general, even though that's been improved now. So.
Well, yeah, well, it has been improved, but on the multi-site, I don't think that we have spent a lot of time improving it lately, actually. And most of the sites are not even using it. Maybe
But about category, we use categories in multi-site where you can create, and you, Carol, use that on a list page with categories.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Here, for example, we don't find anything, but yeah, so here we find things, and this is categorized. This is based on the page type, articles, and so on. But yeah, of course, the way that it's sorting these results here could probably be improved. But yeah, that's a separate, you know, discussion. But yeah, overall, the search functionality isn't being used widely right now on the multi-site. It's relatively few pages that are using it. Any other questions? Not right now. Okay.
A lot of information.
Yes, there was a lot of information here, and not everything is relevant for everybody, I guess, because like the portal is not there in Norway or the Netherlands either. Not for now, anyway. But you know, lessons learned from the portal can also be adapted to the site, as Carl said. You know, does it make sense to use the categorization that we have implemented on the multi-site as well, and so on? And we frequently transfer things from one to the other, and it's good that we have the same system for the portal and for the multi-site, so we can frequently, you know, take advantage of that, and, for example, use the same themes and use the same fonts and so on. Like, for example, recently we implemented the Museo Sans font on Museo Slab for the headings on all the preschool sites. And after doing that on the multi-site, or rather I should say at the same time, we also deployed that to the portal where it's relevant. So yeah, so I think it's still relevant for everybody to see the updates on the portal as well. Yes. So this basically concludes the main part and the points on the agenda. So most of, the most, I would say, highly prioritized item right now would be the accessibility and for us to provide information to you on what you need to do exactly. So that's on us to go into that a little bit more and to share what needs to be done. And secondly, Andy, I suppose we need to take a closer look at your case in Sweden and the locations functionality, the map function, how or if we are going to use it, and maybe we are going to use parts of it in Sweden, or let's see. So that's on you. Then Team Marika, it's you already have the locations. We do have the menu challenge, but yeah, that's it's something that we will need to look into, but you have the functionality itself. But for you, what you can do now is you can do the categories on the portal. And if you need help to replace the search page with the new one that I showed you, then I can help you with that. But the categorization itself, that's up to you. And I know that you have started already. I saw, I checked the data on the live site. You have already put in a lot of categories.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, yes. Have I missed anything? Don't think so. Lots of information, also for me and for us. Yes. So, unless there are questions or comments, I hope this was useful. I do believe that this was a way to share information that probably hadn't reached you, not everybody at least. Carl?
Yeah, I don't know if I missed anything in the beginning when I had trouble logging on, but I just want to apologize again that we haven't done this meeting earlier and more regularly. But Torbjörn and I have talked about it a lot. We just haven't gotten it done. So that we'll promise to set up a new meeting, I think, over summer, so that we have a more regular meeting of this kind where people can ask questions and we can make sure everybody gets to know everything that's going on the platform. And then make a plan to try to do this regularly, at least every half year or so. So I don't think we've had a meeting for over a year at least. So, but yeah, anyway, glad everybody could come.
Yeah, and I guess perhaps we need to set something up when it comes to the accessibility.
Yes.
I noticed there was a lot of questions around that. So when you, Giannis, have made instructions for us, what we need to do, perhaps we need to set up a meeting.
Yes.
So that all the questions are actually asked.
Yeah, definitely. So, Carl, as you said, if we are going to do the next one at some point during the summer, then I guess that accessibility would be our focus, would be our focus in that meeting, or perhaps we can even set up a separate meeting for accessibility, because that's the hot topic right now, and we have some homework on our side to do, and after that, probably you will have some input that you will need to provide in terms of some content, alt texts and things like that. But yeah, and yeah, I do think that more regular meetings like this could be useful. Like, for example, this meeting, we had a lot of information in this one, and to some degree maybe too much for one meeting, but then again, yeah, it's better late than never. And the information has been circulating around anyway. For example, all the documentation that we've done for you, Jose, has reached Team Marika and Rosa, and the location pages are being created in Finland and Poland, even in the background. So yes. Right. So anything else?
No, thank you for everybody's time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you
Yes.
for participating.
And
thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions.
Yeah, and remember that Carl and I, we have a weekly status meeting with Yanis and Vladimir. So if you have any questions or things like that, we are happy to bring them to that meeting. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and have a nice rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.